breaking development, a massive claim that has been made by US President Donald Trump in a G7 call. Donald Trump claims that Iran is about to surrender. So is the war going to end soon? Now, as far as Donald Trump is concerned, he is claiming that Iran is going to surrender soon. But as far as Iran is concerned, and the first statement that came in from the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei said that they will continue to fight. So is this just a one-sided commentary? Is this what is going to happen in the coming days? Will the war end soon? Everything is in the realm of speculation. But Donald Trump has made a big claim. After warning Iran to wait and watch what transpires tonight, Donald Trump has also claimed that Iran is going to surrender soon. Statements being made by Donald Trump about Iran surrendering. Donald Trump seems confident, but the situation on ground seems a little bit complex. Now, this is all based, of course, on the statements that are coming to fore. Donald Trump says Iran to surrender soon as far as the new supreme leader of Iran is concerned. In his first statement itself, Mojtaba Khamenei made it clear that Iran is ready to continue the fight. In fact, Mojtaba Khamenei also had a message for the Gulf countries to not allow US to use their bases. If an attack from the Gulf countries takes place from their territory towards Iran, then there'll be retaliation. But the big question now, of course, is the war going to end soon? And all of this based on what Donald Trump has said. A bombshell claim by US President Donald Trump that Iran is going to surrender soon. Remember, just a couple of days back, you had Benjamin Netanyahu also make a big statement threatening, warning Iran, saying that Israel is not going to stop, that Israel is going to continue their strike against Iran, which is what is happening, which is what we are witnessing. And amid all the developments taking place and the complexity growing on ground in Middle East, Donald Trump says Iran is going to surrender soon. Of course, we need to get more details on whether there was a conversation. What are these signs that Donald Trump believes Iran is going to surrender soon? What is that information that Donald Trump knows? What has his team told him about the situation changing on ground? About signs of de-escalation, about signs of surrender coming in from Iran? All that remains to be seen. Let's go across to Rishabh. There are a lot of statements, in fact, coming in, back-to-back statements coming in from Donald Trump. And in the latest, Donald Trump has made a big claim, Rishabh. According to Donald Trump, he says Iran is going to surrender soon.
Well, if we talk about Iran, see, there are claims and multiple claims that are coming in from Washington. Remember, the day before yesterday, President Trump did say that they can go ahead and, halt the electricity supply in Iran within 1 hour, and it will take 25 years for Iran to reinstate it, to which the Iranian leaders did respond that if anything happens to the energy supply or electricity supply, for that matter, in Iran, the whole region will go dark. So while Donald Trump is making these claims, the war in West Asia is very clearly expanding. We have seen the last GCC country, Oman, also being, pulled in this war as well. So the way, yes, Donald Trump is claiming this, that he has told the G7 leaders in a virtual meeting that Iran is about to surrender. But, these are claims that are being made by U.S. Back on ground, things are different. Only today, U.S. has lost at least 4th of its aircraft as well, and the way energy crisis is looming over the global order right now, looks like Iran still has a lot of hold in the region, and especially when it comes to energy supply, and hence it's not that easy. It's easier said than done that Iran would surrender. Iran is in no mood to surrender as of now.
Right. Rishabh, stay on with us. We also have Srinjoy Chaudhary joining us on the broadcast now. Srinjoy, is this a one-sided commentary, a confident claims being made by Donald Trump after warning Iran to wait and watch what happens next? Donald Trump says Iran is about to surrender.
Let's wait and see what he says next, because he said a lot of different things at different times. Now, if this were to be true, forget about Iran surrendering. If the war were to end right now, it would be good for everybody, in a sense that it would be good for 9 million Indians there. It would be good for the Indian economy. It would be good for the world as far as oil supplies are concerned. It would be good because fewer countries would get hit. So everything, everything would work very well. But the point is it true? Is it actually happening? Because if it were true, then it would be good in a way that the world that the world would see a war ending. But 2 weeks into the war, we don't know as yet how this will turn out. I guess you'll have to wait and see what President Trump says next. That might be the important point.
Absolutely. You know, the question also is what is this based on? Because if we are only going by statements, then the new supreme leader of Iran, Sinjoy, has also said that Iran is going to continue this fight.
Yes, not only that, you would expect the Israelis to want the war to go on,
yes,
and damage Iran more. But the question also is America ready to end this? Has America had enough? Have the Americans had enough? That's really the question. So it's a decision of the American presidents. He's not known to say exactly the same thing all the while. So we'll have to see what he says next. Because at this point, he says that the surrender is inevitable and is going to be imminent. Well, is that so? We'll have to wait and see if that actually happens.
Now, there are, of course, a lot of questions that comes to mind when you hear such claims, because there's a lot of analysis also on the cost of war. Are these statements based on the actual reality on ground? Are these statements based on the fact that Iran is launching missiles that cost about thousands of dollars, but the interceptors or the way to counter them as far as US is concerned runs into millions? So is this about cost of war as well?
Actually, if you really look at that, the American defense budget is $1 trillion. Okay, $1 trillion, which is really roughly 25% of India's entire GDP. And so far, according to reports, about $10–11 billion was spent in the first week. Let's say another $10–11 have been spent in the second week. Let's say $25 billion have been spent on the war. Right. You could argue the 3 planes that went down each cost $1 million each after depreciation. So that's $50 million, $25 million has been spent on the war. $1 billion, sorry. And if your budget is $1 trillion, that is 1,000 billion dollars. What is $25 billion and what is $1,000 billion? So money is not the issue. But so far, 7 Americans have died in this war. Seven American soldiers have been killed. We don't know how many will be killed in the near future if the war continues. That's not something the people of America would be very happy with. That's the other thing. Besides, oil prices could well shoot up in the United States. Will the people of America want that? So we don't know how this will end. We actually have to wait and see what President Trump says next.
All right, absolutely. So then if this is not about cost of war, as you explained the defense budget of America, and that it really is not a big deal for them, at least now in the initial phase, is this about the kind of messaging that is going on in America with a lot of people actually openly, expressing distrust? It's about dwindling popularity. Is this about this loss of life that will have a negative impact?
Well, at this point, more people want the war to end in America. More people favor a peace. More people believe that this war should not be on. So as a result, it's important for Trump to be on the right side of popular opinion as well. He's an elected president. So that also counts. And if 60% of America is saying we are not in favor of the war, then what are you saying to the whole country? You're a president of the whole country, not of 40% of America. So that point you made is absolutely correct. That's entirely possible. Also, the fact that, yes, so far, 7 soldiers have died. 2 officers, 7 soldiers have died. Now the point is, anything can happen at any time during the war. Does anyone want that?
You know, it's not just about US and Iran. Then you also have Israel. Israel has no willingness to back off at the moment because Israel's goal is very clear. They do not just want to decimate Iran, but Iran-backed militant groups as well, Hezbollah for that matter. That's why it is striking deeper, going deeper into Lebanon. So the Israel factor is also very much there.
Yes, understandably. Actually, clearly, it depends how long this war lasts will also depend. This is only one factor, how persuasive Prime Minister Netanyahu is with President Trump. If he says that, look, we have to finish the job, and those words were the President Trump's a few days ago, then you have to finish the job. And if you want to finish the job, then how much longer will it take? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Where is the question of surrender then? So it's all very complicated. And no one actually knows what the president is thinking when he says what he does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We also have Mr. Robinder Sachdev joining us on the broadcast. Thank you for joining us. Your first reaction. Now, Donald Trump has been making a lot of statements. Donald Trump is now saying in the latest that Iran is about to surrender. Of course, we don't know what is the information that the president is privy to based on which he is making this statement. But his bold claim is that Iran is about to surrender.
Yeah, I mean, see, it could happen. The possibility is there. The question is, what is the probability? Okay. It could happen that the new regime, which has taken power in Iran, consolidates itself and is amenable to agreeing with Trump on some matters. Maybe they'll say, okay, we will not pursue our nuclear program, but our ballistic will go on, or something like that. Meanwhile, Trump can say that they've done sufficient damage on the regime and its infrastructures, or some kind of a deal. It could happen, possibility. But the probability is very low. So Trump is pushing, and if you look as to the rhetoric which is coming out from Iran yesterday, I mean, that rhetoric is not only calling for, the Arab states to remove the American bases. The statement by the Iranian supreme leader is also saying that whenever the war comes to a pause, Iran will want compensation for the damages. So if he says, Trump, that, they will surrender, then what is the compensation they are negotiating, right? And they've been very clear that if there is no compensation by the Americans and the invading armies, let's say, and the Arab world, then they will impose, a surcharge on transiting through the Straits of Hormuz. So that, tankers can go, but every tanker which goes pays, let's say, $1 per barrel that it is carrying.
All right.
So when the rhetoric is like that and the positioning is like that from Iran, it seems the chances are low of what Trump is saying.
All right. So then, yes, remains to be seen what happens next and what Donald Trump says next. As of now, as per him, Iran is about to surrender. Thank you very much, Mr. Sachdev, for speaking with us.